Hello everyone, welcome back to the online session on dynamics of motion. In the previous session, we have learnt about the vibration, types of vibration and the differential equation for undamped free vibration. So there you have learnt different conditions and also solved the problems on undamped vibration. In today's session, I am going to explain about the damped free vibration of single degree of freedom. Damped free vibration of single degree of freedom means in the previous topic you have learned the vibration concept of undamped condition, means without any resistance to the vibrating body. Here we are going to consider the damping effect. Damping means the resistance offered by a body to the motion of a vibrating system. If a system is vibrating, so for that we are going to resist that motion with the help of a system, that is the damping or dampers. So with the help of damping we can control the motion of the vibrating body. So here, coming to the concept, damped free vibration. As I said, damping is the resistance offered by a body to the motion of a vibrating system. So here in damping we have different types. The different types of damping are viscous damping, Coulomb damping, structural damping, non-linear, slip or interfacial damping. So these are the different types of damping system that we are going to use in different applications. So let us discuss one by one. The very first one, viscous damping. See, viscous means it's a kind of a liquid medium or a fluid medium. So for that we call it as a viscous. Here viscous damping means when the system is allowed to vibrate in a liquid medium or a fluid medium. So such type of damping system we call it as viscous damping. So in the viscous damping, there will be a force of resistance, which means some vibrating system is resisting by sort of liquid or fluid, means there will be a force of resistance. So that force of resistance is directly proportional to the velocity. That is why I have written F proportional to velocity. Force of friction is directly proportional to the velocity. So that will become F is equal to C into x dot. Here x dot is nothing but the velocity, as you have learnt in the previous topic, that is in the introduction to undamped free vibration. X dot and x double dot. X is the displacement, x dot is the velocity, x double dot is the acceleration. So in place of V I have taken x dot, that is the velocity, and this C is nothing but the damping coefficient. In the viscous damping there will be a damping coefficient, so that is the C, damping coefficient. So the final expression or the final expression will be F is equal to C into x dot. Force of friction is directly proportional to the velocity. So in the viscous liquid or in the viscous damping system, there are some examples. So I'll just consider one example to go for the viscous damping, that is fluid dashpot system. Consider a cylinder with the cylinder is filled with the liquid. A cylinder filled with the liquid, then a piston is performing to and fro motion inside the cylinder. So here this is the cylinder, this is the piston, and this is the viscous medium. The gap between the piston and the cylinder is represented by clearance E, small letter E. E is nothing but the clearance. the gap between the piston and the cylinder, so that is the E, and if the clearance is more, then the velocity will be more. So this is one of the example for the viscous damping. So this is about the viscous damping system. Next we have Coulomb damping. See, the Coulomb is a name of a person who developed this concept. So that is why we call it as Coulomb damping. So as per the Coulomb damping, the surface of one body offers some resistance to the movement of the other body on it. Consider two bodies, one is fixed and one is moving. If a body is moving with respect to another, so there will be a force of friction. Just like your viscous damping, you will get the force of resistance. Here there will be a force of friction. So the Coulomb damping is saying that the surface of one body offers some resistance to the movement of the other body on it. And the standard expression for that is F is equal to mu into Rn. The standard expression for this is F is equal to mu into Rn. Here F is nothing but the frictional force, and this is the normal reaction, and this is the x dot velocity, and this is the mass of a system, that is the weight of the system, m into g, mass into gravity. So with respect to this, they have derived a standard expression, that is F is equal to mu into Rn. F is the frictional force, mu is the coefficient of friction, Rn is the normal reaction. So this is about the Coulomb damping. This expression we will use while solving a numerical problem. Then next we have structural damping. According to structural damping, it is one of the characteristics of the material, and the resistance is offered by the elastic properties. Means in the elastic structure or in an elastic element, so there will be a intermolecular changes. When the load applied on elastic body, and after some time when it remove the load, it will regain its original size and shape, right? So in between that there will be a intermolecular changes in the structure. So that is what here mentioning, that one of the characteristics of the material and the resistance is offered by the elastic properties. It will resist up to certain limit, right? So that resisting limit is nothing but the structural damping. So we have a graph, stress versus displacement. When you are going to put a load on a structure, so it will be resist up to certain limit. So after you remove the load, again the elastic structure will regain its original size and shape, right? So for that one cycle, this loop is representing the one cycle of that elastic body. Means apply the load, then remove the load, it will regain its original size and shape. So that is what here showing, that unloading and loading with respect to the displacement and the stress. This loop we call it as hysteresis loop. Hysteresis loop. So since we have a hysteresis loop, for this damping we also call it as hysteresis damping. Hysteresis damping. So this is about the structural damping. Means in a structure, in an elastic body, when it regain its original size and shape after removal of load on it, so that is what the resistance offered by the body to the applied load. So that is what the structural damping. Inside the structure there will be intermolecular changes. Now move on to the last type, that is non-linear slip or interfacial damping. According to this, machine elements are connected through various types of joints. Obviously, when you are going to see the machine elements or a machine parts, it will be connected by a different joints, right? So Microscopic slip occurs on the interfaces of machine elements, which causes dissipation of vibrational energy when the interface of machine elements or parts in contact are under fluctuating loads. When load is fluctuating, when the load is fluctuating, which causes the dissipation of vibrational energy, in those joints. That is what one type of resistance. So when the interface of machine elements parts in are under fluctuating loads. So when it is under fluctuating load, you will get this type of resistance. So for this we have a graph here, that is energy dissipated and contact pressure. So as per the contact pressure and the energy dissipation, what will be the amplitude of a system? So you can see this, we have a small amplitude and the large amplitude also. So this is about the non-linear slip or interfacial damping. After the different types of damping, the next concept in damped free vibration is differential equation of damped free vibration. Means you have derive one equation under undamped free vibration. So for this, it is damped free vibration. Now we are going to derive the differential equation for the damped free vibration. So as you all know, the spring mass system, the previous topic, I have considered the spring mass system. Now for the same spring mass system, I am going to consider the damper. Here this is a damper that is represented by C, and we have a spring, that is K, stiffness of the spring. Then we have a mass, spring mass damper system. So by considering the spring mass damper system, I am going to derive the differential equation of the damped free vibration. Now let us see the parameters that we are going to use by deriving this equation. So that is K, as we all know, stiffness of spring. Then C, that is the damping coefficient. M, mass suspended from the spring. And here we have delta, means the initial displacement. When you are going to put weight on the spring, it will take a starting deflection or initial deflection, that is denoted by delta. So after certain time, that is after certain time t, we have a displacement of the mass, so that is denoted by x. So this is the mean position of the mass at the initial condition. So after time t, certain time t, this will be the mean position of the mass. So this is the delta is the initial displacement or the initial deflection of the spring, and x is the displacement after certain time t. So these are the some of the parameters that we are going to consider by deriving this equation. Now, and one more, we have omega n, natural frequency of the system. The forces acting on the body. The forces acting on the body. We have three elements, K, C, and one more is the moving condition or the direction of motion of the body. So first one is accelerating force. Accelerating force means when we are applying a certain load on a body, so it will move in a direction of motion, right? So here accelerating force is in the direction of the motion, so it is downward. Here the mass is moving in the direction of motion in a downward direction. Then we have a damping force. Damping force is nothing but here we are using a damper, so damping coefficient, so that will be in the opposite direction, means it is resisting towards the upper side. Then in the same way we have a spring force, that is also towards upward, and only we have the accelerating force, that is moving in the direction of motion. And accelerating force is denoted by mx double dot. As you all know, x double dot is the acceleration, so mx double dot in downward direction. Damping force, that is cx dot, that will be in the upward direction, and also the spring force kx, that is also in the upward direction. So that is why I have shown here at a equilibrium condition, the two forces are acting in opposite direction, and one force, that is the accelerating force, that will be in the direction of motion, that is in the downward direction. So this is the condition for the spring mass damper system. In the next step, based on that, for equilibrium condition, mx double dot is equal to minus kx minus cx dot. Mx double dot, accelerating force in a downward direction, that will be equal to minus kx. Why it is minus kx? Because in the opposite direction. Here spring is acting towards upward. Then we have a cx dot, that is the damper system or the damping system, damping force, that is the C, that will be also acting in the opposite direction. So that is why mx double dot is equal to minus kx minus cx dot. I'll just shift those factors towards left hand side. So it will become mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx equal to 0. Mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx is equal to 0. So this is the initial expression, differential expression. Using this expression, we are going to derive the differential equation of the damped free vibration. So that will be called it as equation number 1. Equation number 1. So from this, I can also modify this by taking m as a common factor. X double dot plus c by m into x dot plus k by m into x equal to 0. Just take out the m as a common factor, so you will get this expression. So that will be considered as equation number 2. Why I am showing both the expression means because we should know the basic condition while deriving the equation of the differential equation for the damped free vibration. So from that expression, I have modified to this condition. Based on this, we will move for the next step. Equation 2 is said to be a single degree of freedom damped vibration system. This is the single degree of freedom of the damped vibrating system. See, we have x double dot accelerating force, we have x dot velocity and x displacement, acceleration, velocity and displacement. Now for this, suppose if I want the natural frequency, that is omega n. So for that your C will be 0 because it is the natural frequency. So then equation 2 will become, if I put 0 in place of C, the whole term will become 0. So the remaining term is x double dot plus k by m into x equal to 0. This term k by m is nothing but the natural frequency. We have a formula, omega n is equal to square root of k by m is expressed in radian per second or rad per second. So that is the natural frequency. Then equation 2 is differential equation of second order, means just recall your second order differential equation in your mathematics. So for that, if you get the differential second order equation, you are going to assume a solution. So here also I am assuming the solution for the differential second order equation is x is equal to e to the power of alpha into t, e to the power of alpha into t. I have x double dot x dot x. Now I got the solution for x. Now differentiate this. So we will get x dot and x double dot. X dot will become alpha into e power alpha t, and x double dot will become alpha square into e to the power of alpha t. Now substitute these values, alpha, x dot and x double dot. Substitute these values in equation 2, that is equation number 2. In place of x dot, we have alpha square e power alpha t. In place of x dot, we have alpha into e power alpha t. In place of x, we have e power alpha t. Just substitute in place of x double dot, x dot and x. So the expression will become alpha square into e power alpha t plus we have c by m into alpha e power alpha t plus we have k by m into e power alpha t equal to 0. Here we have e power alpha t common. Take out the common factor e power alpha t. So if you take out the e power alpha t as a common factor, then if you shift towards right hand side, it will become 0 by e power alpha t. Anything divided by 0 will become 0. So your e power alpha t got eliminated. Now the remaining term is alpha square plus c by m into alpha plus k by m equal to 0. Now we have reduced the expression in the third stage. In the first stage we got like this, in the second stage again we have modified, and then we have got the solution, and we again have reduced the equation to third stage, that is alpha square plus c by m alpha plus k by m equal to 0. Now just see this condition. It is one of a standard formula in your mathematics, that is ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. And for this you have a formula x is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. So just recall this formula. So this equation number 3 is in the form of ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. So I am just using this formula, x is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. So in the place of b we have c by m, so minus c by m plus or minus square root of, in place of b square again c by m whole square minus 4ac, 4 into a is nothing but 1, we do not have any magnitude, so I will just consider 1, into c, in place of c we have km, k by m, so 4 into k by m divided by 2 into a means 1, we do not have a value here, so I will just consider it as 1. So I have just applied that formula in our equation number 3. Now just modify this 1 by 2, take outside the 1 by 2, then minus c by m plus or minus square root of c by m square minus 4 into k by m. Now I want the individual, now I can reduce one more step, that is alpha 1 is equal to multiply with the condition c by 2m plus square root of c by 2m whole square minus k by m. I will repeat once again, minus c by 2m, 2 into m, I am just multiplying with the term, multiplying with the 2. So it will become plus square root of c by 2m whole square minus k by m. Similarly for the alpha 2, for the negative condition, minus c by 2m minus square root of c by 2m whole square minus k by m. Just apply the standard formula, that is ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0, and just reduce it into 1 by 2. So you can show it here 1 by 2. And the next step I have split it into alpha 1 and alpha 2. So next, consider this factor. So suppose if any one of the factor alpha, alpha 1 and alpha 2, suppose if the c by 2m whole square minus km will become 0, so the expression will become c by 2m whole square is equal to k by m. Here it is minus k by m, I have just shifted towards right hand side, so it will become k by m. Now we have a square here, shift this to right hand side, so it will become square root of k by m then we have only c by m, c by 2m. We know that square root of k by m is nothing but omega n, that is the natural frequency. So c by 2m is equal to omega n. Now c is equal to 2m into omega n. We have critical damping coefficient that will be denoted by Cc, C suffix C, critical damping coefficient, critical damping coefficient. And critical damping coefficient, when we call it as, if c by 2m whole square minus km is equal to 0, so that term or that condition we call it as critical damping coefficient. So for that the condition is c by 2m whole square minus k by m is equal to 0. Next we have damping factor. Damping factor is nothing but the ratio of the ratio of damping coefficient to the critical damping coefficient, which is nothing but c by cc, and the damping factor is represented by the notation that is zeta. Zeta means damping factor, that will be denoted by zeta. Zeta is equal to c by cc, damping coefficient by critical damping coefficient. This formula is very important that we are going to use while solving the problem. See, we have reduced the expression to the damping coefficient as well as the critical damping coefficient. From the expression we got the value of damping coefficient, again we got the value of critical damping coefficient, condition for critical damping coefficient, and also we got the zeta, that is the damping factor. Now we know that alpha is equal to minus c by 2m plus or minus c by m whole square minus k by m. So this is the standard expression that we got from the equation number 3. For the critical damping coefficient, 2m will become cc. The same thing when it consider critical damping coefficient, so it will become cc by omega n. Cc is nothing but the critical damping coefficient. So in place of 1 by 2m, I have considered omega n by cc, because it is for 2m, but I have 1 by 2m, so it is omega n by cc. So just replace 1 by 2m by omega n by cc. So then I will get alpha is equal to minus zeta into omega n plus or minus zeta into omega n whole square minus omega n square. Why? Because c by cc is what? Damping factor, that is zeta. So zeta, here also c by cc is there, so just write zeta. Then we have omega n common here, just take out the common factor outside omega n, then you will get alpha 1 is equal to minus zeta plus square root of zeta square minus 1 into omega n. Then alpha 2 minus zeta minus square root of zeta square minus 1 into omega n. So these are the values of alpha 1 and alpha 2. Now we got the values of alpha and alpha 2. Now the general solution for the second order differential equation is x is equal to a1 into e to the power of alpha 1 into t plus a2 into e to the power of alpha 2 into t. Here a1 and a2 are the arbitrary constants, and alpha 1 alpha 2 value we have already derived that, alpha 1 and alpha 2. Just substitute the values in place of alpha 1 and alpha 2. X is equal to a1 into e to the power of minus zeta plus square root of zeta square minus 1 into omega n into t. Here I have just substitute the value of alpha 1. Then plus a2 into e to the power of minus zeta minus square root of zeta square minus 1 into omega n into t. I have just substitute the values of alpha 1 and alpha 2. So this is the final differential equation for the damped free vibration. Based on this, if zeta is greater than 1, then the roots are real and negative. If zeta is equal to 1, then roots are real and equal. If zeta value is less than 1, then roots are imaginary and both are complex conjugates. In the next concept, we have the conditions based on the zeta values. Zeta equal to 1, zeta greater than 1, and zeta less than 1. So, based on the zeta value, we are going to derive further 3 conditions in the next